Welcome back to Sunday Night in America as we continue monitoring the dire situation in Ukraine. The people of Ukraine are under attack and paying a heavy price for Russia's aggression. Tonight, the United Nations is warning important items like medical supplies and fuel are now dwindling in Ukraine. And the UN says as many as 5 million people could ultimately be forced to flee. More than 360,000 Ukrainians have already left the country. Ukraine's President Zelensky says the next 24 hours will be crucial for his country. The world watches for Vladimir Putin's next move. Let's bring in former State Department spokesperson Morgan Ortagus. Morgan, thank you for joining us. Those images are hard for us. I mean, you've got, on the one hand, the resiliency of the Ukrainian people, but with the reality that there's civilians being killed and they're having to flee their homeland. What's your reaction when you see this real cost and consequence of Putin's war?
Well, listen, trying to deal with war after it's begun is a lot more expensive. It's a lot more hurtful to families than if you actually prevented it in the first place. So what you're seeing, these images, listen, it's very reminiscent to me of what we've seen in Syria, over the past 7 or 8 years. But now it's even more prevalent because it is on European soil. So you're seeing a few things. There's about roughly 350,000 Ukrainian refugees already. That number is going to probably ultimately be just a drop in the bucket. As you pointed out, it's hard to estimate these numbers, but Ukraine is a country of 44 million people. And, listen, you're seeing also what's interesting here is that men of fighting age are staying. The Ukrainian leadership has asked men 18 to 60 to stay and fight for their country, and it appears that they mostly are doing so. I mean, these images of Zelensky, these images of the Ukrainian people staying to fight for their country, I think that's really what moved Europe over these past few days more than anything else. Also, something to note, I mean, this is sort of a technical State Department thing, but there's something called the Schengen zone that Ukraine is a part of. This is European countries where you can come and go freely without a visa. Ukraine is a part of that. So it will be different from Syria as it relates to refugees in the sense that you'll see a lot of the neighboring countries who also do not like Russia, countries like, Hungary, Poland, Romania, Moldova. These countries should and likely will take Ukrainian refugees. But as we've seen happen, again, over the years through Syria, you see internally displaced people, you see refugees, you see a beautiful country. I was in this country just 2 years ago. I was in Kyiv with Secretary Pompeo. We met with Zelensky. It's one of the most beautiful places, Trey, that I've ever been to. I was just really stunned by what a gorgeous city it was. I went into the churches with Mike Pompeo. We went and met with the ministers, with the priests who had been, just really harassed by Putin and his regime. And these are people that believe in their faith, they believe in their country, and they're going to stand up to Russian aggression. But the stark reality is that this is a superpower with an incredibly strong military that is attacking them and surrounding their cities. And you are inevitably going to see more and more of these images that you're showing of Ukrainian refugees in the coming weeks and days.
Morgan, it strikes me one way to not lose a war is to not have that war. And Biden promised crippling sanctions. He said it would be the sanctions, the likes of which Russia has never seen before. Are we to take that those sanctions just had no impact on Putin, that he doesn't care about the Russian people, or that the sanctions weren't all that tough to begin with?
Oh, gosh, so much to unload there, Trey. Well, first of all, the sanctions, while they are strong sanctions, should have happened a long time ago, number one. Number two, the Russian stock market actually went up, I think, at least 20% on Friday after President Biden announced that these were, the toughest sanctions that anyone had seen. Well, that's not true. And I can tell you, if you look at what happened, just look at Iran. We pursued the maximum economic pressure campaign against Iran in the Trump administration after we withdrew from the disastrous JCPOA deal. And if you look, again, it's not always apples for apples, but the maximum economic pressure campaign is certainly a good roadmap that you could look to. We took the Iranian central bank off of SWIFT, which you were just talking about in your last segment. The problem with some of the sanctions that Biden announced, in addition to them being a little too late, remember that Russia has withstood sanctions ever since they invaded Crimea in 2014. But the problem is you start cherry picking banks. You don't go after the energy, the oil and gas sector. And so what you're doing is actually you're making ways for Russia to get around the sanctions. And you could do something as simple. Listen, there's a minerals and timber sector that's incredibly prolific in Russia. You could go after 30% of their economy right now and not even touch the energy sector, and we're not doing that yet.
Morgan Ortagus, we will see. Biden will have a State of the Union. We will see what else he rolls out. Thank you for joining us on a Sunday night.
Thanks, Trey.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.